Welcome back to English Practice with Monica. I'm Monica, and today I'm here with a very special guest, Charlie. Let's give Charlie a big, warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Monica. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm excited to talk with you and have a great conversation.
Today we're talking about something that has probably affected every English learner at some point. The biggest lie about learning English. And no, it's not a small lie. It's a lie that has discouraged millions of people from becoming fluent. So let's get started.
Over the years, countless things have been said about learning English, that you need talent, that you must start as a child, that you have to live in the United States, that you need a perfect accent. In reality, the list is very long, but one of those ideas has held back millions of students more than any other.
You're absolutely right. There are many misconceptions about learning English, but one of the most common is the idea that you need to move abroad to become fluent. How many times have you heard that? Maybe someone told you, well, if you really want to learn English, you need to move to the United States. Or, I can't improve my English because I don't live abroad. At first, this sounds logical. After all, if you're surrounded by English every day, learning should be easier, right?
I'm not saying it doesn't help. It definitely does. In fact, living in an English-speaking country can speed up the learning process a lot. What I question is the idea that it's absolutely necessary. There are thousands of people living in English-speaking countries who never become fluent, and there are also thousands of people who become fluent without ever leaving their own country. The difference isn't just about where you live, it's about how much you actually use English in your daily life.
That's a really good point. Living in an English-speaking country can help, but it's not a magic solution. In fact, many people move to the United States, Canada, Australia, or the UK and still struggle with English years later. Why? Because language learning doesn't happen by location. It happens through interaction. You can live in New York and spend most of your time speaking Spanish. And you can live in Colombia, Mexico, Peru, or Argentina and spend 2 hours every day listening, reading, speaking, and thinking in English. Who do you think will improve faster?
Probably the person who succeeds is the one who doesn't wait for perfect conditions to learn. Many times, we think we need more time, more money, or to live in another country, when in reality, progress often comes from making the most of the resources and opportunities we already have today.
Think about this. How many people do you know who have lived in another country for years, but still don't speak the language fluently? It happens all the time. Because being physically present isn't enough. You have to engage with the language. You have to use it. You have to make mistakes. You have to communicate.
In fact, many times mistakes are a sign of progress. Every uncomfortable conversation, every mispronounced word, and every correction brings us a little closer to fluency.
20 years ago, learning English was different. Finding native content wasn't easy. Finding conversation partners wasn't easy. Finding teachers wasn't easy. Today, everything is available. Podcasts, YouTube, movies, TV series, online classes, language exchange partners, AI tools, social media. English is literally in your pocket. The opportunities that exist today would have seemed unbelievable 20 years ago.
In fact, I believe we live in a time when learning English is more accessible than ever before. The difference is no longer mainly about access to information, but rather the discipline to turn that information into knowledge and real practice.
So, if living abroad isn't the secret, what is? Consistency, not motivation, not talent, not age. Consistency. The student who studies 30 minutes every day for a year will often outperform the student who studies 5 hours one day and then quits for 2 weeks. Small daily effort wins. Every time.
Yeah, in fact, sometimes people look for quick methods and miracle solutions, but lasting results usually come from simple habits practiced consistently over time. Consistency is what truly turns effort into progress.
There's another belief connected to this myth. People say, when I move abroad, I'll finally start learning English. But if you're not learning now, why would you suddenly start later? The habits you have today are the habits you'll take with you. If you don't listen to English now, you probably won't listen to it there. If you don't practice speaking now, you probably won't practice enough there either. Fluency starts before the plane ticket.
I think we often fall into the trap of believing that our future circumstances will do the work for us. However, learning begins when we decide to take action with the resources we have today. Waiting for the perfect moment often delays progress more than we imagine.
So the next time someone says, you need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent, remember this. Living abroad can help, but it is not a requirement. Thousands of people become fluent every year without leaving their home country. The real requirement is consistent exposure, regular practice, and patience. English is not learned by geography. English is learned by use.
In the end, this message reminds us that fluency is not a place we arrive at, but a process we build day by day. People who succeed are not always the ones with the most advantages, but the ones who keep moving forward, even with small steps.
I absolutely agree.
Before we finish, I want to tell you a story about someone. This person didn't live in the United States and didn't live in any English-speaking country either. English wasn't part of this person's daily life, and this person didn't start learning at a young age. In fact, this person decided to seriously learn English at the age of 30. At the beginning, things were not easy. There were pronunciation mistakes, moments of frustration, and many situations where speaking English felt uncomfortable. Like many people, this person sometimes thought, maybe I started too late. But instead of waiting for perfect conditions, this person made a different decision, use what was available, and keep moving forward. And here's an important detail. This happened around 8 years ago. Back then, learning English was very different from what we see today. We didn't have artificial intelligence helping people practice conversations instantly. We didn't have as many easy tools and resources available like we do today. Most of the time, learning depended on personal effort, finding materials, practicing alone, making mistakes, and trying again. Little by little, day after day, progress started to appear. Months turned into years, and those small efforts eventually became confidence. Today, this person speaks English confidently, teaches other people, and inspires students who once believed learning English was impossible. So now I have a question for you, Monica. Who do you think this person is?
Honestly, I don't know, Charlie. Because there are many people who have overcome difficulties and become fluent in English despite the challenges they faced.
Well, um, it's you, Monica. You are living proof that people don't need to move to another country to learn English. They don't need perfect conditions and they don't need to start as children. If it was possible 8 years ago with fewer tools and fewer opportunities, imagine what people can achieve today. You are the perfect example that consistency, determination, and small steps can completely change someone's life.
That's so kind of you, Charlie. Thank you so much. After this wonderful conversation, let's wrap things up with an interesting conclusion. Living in an English-speaking country can be helpful, but it is not what determines fluency. What truly makes the difference is consistent practice, active use of the language, and the patience to keep going over time. Fluency does not depend on a plane ticket, a visa, or a new address. It depends on the habits we build and the effort we make every day. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it valuable. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.